Hey nerds, welcome to JerBear Reacts. Today we're just going to simply talk about a movie, spoiler free by the way. We're going to talk about The Batman because I just saw it and I just want to take a second to just kind of put my thoughts and opinions out there with no spoilers whatsoever. I thought about keeping this blue light right here because Batman, the original, had blue in his color scheme. Could you imagine the marketing with this Batman, like for the next movie to do it in blue instead of red? It would look sick. The red looks sick too. But we're going to rock red because that is the theme of the Batman. That is the color schemes and all the promos. And all their posters just hit, by the way. Only problem with the red cam, it makes my face look super white because I'm pasty. I'm a nocturnal. So, hey, if you're new to the channel, by the way, feel free to subscribe for daily content. If there's a day, there's a reaction. There's links in the description box for our Patreon, Twitch stream, everything in between. That's the whole opening spiel. Jerry's here. You don't have to go nowhere. Matt Reeves, The Batman, starring Robert Pattinson, Colin Farrell, Zoe Kravitz, Paul Dano. Fantastic cast. Jeffrey Wright and Andy Serkis is in there as well. The movie that was initially supposed to be written, directed, and acted by Ben Affleck. Listen, this Punisher toboggan, the other side of this is Daredevil. Not that I like that Daredevil, but I fuck with Ben Affleck, all right? I love Batfleck to pieces, but obviously he wasn't happy with DC. All that shit falls through. We get Robert Pattinson, we get Edward Cullen, and everything else he's ever been in. Robert Pattinson is a fantastic actor, and we'll get to what I think about him as Batman in a moment. Let's start this off just as my thoughts and opinions. It's not really a review. It's just my thoughts, right? Let's start with what I didn't like. Let's do that. Here's what I didn't like about the Batman. One, it's super dark. Here's what they like to do, right? They like to do this. They like to have the screen super dark and like, oh, I can see what's going on, but not really. And then bam, they flashbang you. Somebody turns on a headlight, something, some sort of light clicks on, you get flashbanged. That's nitpicking. The other thing I didn't like was I feel like some scenes were drawn out a little bit too long. This movie would probably be 2.5 hours. There's probably 10 minutes of just a lot of staring, a lot of stuff dragging out. I get the purpose of it. I just didn't like it myself. The only other thing I didn't like about the movie, and I love Jeffrey Wright to pieces, it's just the way he spoke. I don't know. Something about it. He was like, so, Batman, what are we going to do about it? Why is he writing to you? I've known you for 2 years, and I've never seen your face. You wear a mask. Like the whole movie, he speaks like that, you know? That's just his cadence. It reminds me a lot of Rorschach from Watchmen. And I love both this. I love this Gordon, and I love Rorschach and Watchmen. But something about it, I'm like, bro, just fucking get to the point when you're speaking, right? Oh, that's the only thing. Just, again, minor nitpicks. And all I'm saying is if I'm nitpicking on that stuff, there's not too much else to say about things I didn't like about the movie. So, another Rorschach thing with Batman, with Bruce Wayne, documenting, talking about journal entry, October 31st, blah, blah, blah. They think I'm lurking in the shadows. Here's what I love about the movie, okay? Is they set Batman up to be hyper intimidating. People are genuinely scared of Batman in this movie. They are terrified of Batman. They think every time they look into a shadow that Batman's lurking there. They get scared looking at a shadow because they think the Batman is lurking. And the first moment we see him on screen and that score is just, it just sets the tone for the whole movie. I do got to say, there's a lot of Easter eggs to other characters in the movie. Maybe stuff setting up for the second one. I love that first moment with him. They take a moment right out of the trailers. That's in the opening scene of this. That is absolutely badass where he says, he's like, who the hell are you? I'm Vengeance. And they spend more time in the movie calling him Vengeance than they do Batman. The only time I really see Batman is in the letters that the Riddler's writing to him. I think everything with the Riddler is perfect. I've always wanted a Dark Riddler. When we got one, I think it's amazing. Everything with Penguin is amazing. Everything with Catwoman is amazing. The movie overall is fantastic. I think there is a brilliant movie hidden within this one. Not hidden within it, but it's in this one. You just cut off a little bit of extra time in this movie. I think it's good to go. And time isn't a factor, but this 2 hours and 40 minutes felt longer than Endgame's 3 hours. I don't know how to explain that, Just the movie felt like it lasted 5 hours, but I was hooked the entire time. I was never bored with it. I was just like, holy shit, this is a long movie, right? Now, there's a bunch of subtleties to and little things placed around that are in plain sight that kind of showcase things that are later revealed at the end of the movie. This isn't a superhero movie. It's a detective movie because Batman started off as a detective in Detective Comics. And Batman is one of the most popular superheroes ever, if not the most popular. I personally would think he's the second most popular superhero of all time, right behind Spider-Man. I just think that's the order. Everybody knows who both those people are, but I think overall popularity, Spider-Man takes it a little bit. They both have a great catalog of villains, and it's just everything's great. Overall, with the movie, I love it. I'll probably watch it once again by myself. I'm definitely going to watch it again the next time the Queen visits. But other than that, man, let's talk about the actors. Zoe Kravitz is a great Catwoman. Colin Farrell is a hilarious Penguin. There's been a lot of people talking about this movie isn't funny enough, but there's a lot of humor in the movie. It just doesn't come off like set up with a punchline. It's in the dialogue and in the way they're speaking. And if there is any comical points, it is Oz Cobblepot. It is Oswald. It is the Penguin set up. It's kind of like not comedic relief, but he is funny just in his nature. There is no outright comedy. This is a super dark fucking film. Literally, it's dark in some scenes, like Game of Thrones. Like, what the fuck? But he's a great Penguin. Paul Dano's Riddler is perfect. We're well beyond Jim Carrey's Riddler, and I think Jim Carrey played a perfect Riddler, by the way. But this dark, twisted Riddler is exactly the way that it should be explored. Take these characters, make them super twisted. And I love over-the-top, hokey comic book stuff, right? I love it. I love the Suicide Squad because they play more into the comic book, as does Peacemaker, with this kind of over-the-top at times with the powers and abilities. And it's just, comic books overall are quirky and over-the-top, and I love them. But when you take something and ground it in realism, like the Dark Knight trilogy, and like this, it just adds another layer. It adds more flavor to the film itself. Before we get to the main thing I'm waiting for, cinematically, the cinematography is absolutely gorgeous. All the shots in this film are great. There's a bunch of moments like, damn, bro, that'd be a sick wallpaper. Now, with all those people aside, you know what? Let's do some of the other minor people. Jeffrey Wright is a good Gordon. Just his cadence and speaking was just a little weird. Little buddy from Mr. Deeds and Transformers and fucking Oh Brother Where Art Thou? We thought you was a toad. That guy. He is oh, I just forgot his name. Fuck. Oh, dude, his name's like oh boy from Gears of War. Carmine Falcone, right? Okay. I had to think for a second. My hand's on my phone. I was going to look it up. It just came to me. Gears of War, Carmine Falcone. He plays him. Another great character. I think Andy Serkis is a great Alfred, but he's not in the movie that much. But the big overall thing, right? Robert Pattinson. Are you ready for this? Robert Pattinson is the best Batman to date. Best live action Batman to date I'd say by a considerable mile. I love Batfleck. I think Ben Affleck was a great Batman. I don't know why there's any hate or criticism. He's a fantastic Bruce Wayne. He's a fantastic Batman. Michael Keaton is a perfect Batman. A little weird Bruce Wayne. And Christian Bale is a good Batman and a good Bruce Wayne as well. I like him, I think, kind of more as Bruce Wayne at times, but I think he is a good Batman. But I think Robert Pattinson is the best Batman that we've had to date. There's been a ton of them. There's probably going to be more. It's just, he just crushes it. Now, I will say his Bruce Wayne needs a little bit of work, but him as Batman is just the intimidation factor, the way he carries himself, his presence, all of that stuff, the way he's intelligent, his detective work embodies everything about Batman. And it's great. We didn't have to rehash the origin story. This is more like a year 2 Batman, if anything. And there are moments at the end of the movie that set up maybe the second one. Being able to take the Riddler and have him like the Zodiac Killer and have Batman and Alfred be able to decipher codes and figure out slowly what's going on is great. And I loved every moment of the movie. There's a couple things that didn't really go anywhere. There's a couple things you're like, oh, that's really cool. And then nothing happens with it. There's a couple awkward moments. There's a couple things that, again, was stretched out too much. But overall, it's a really good movie. And I'm excited to see what they do in the second one because there's for sure going to be a sequel. There is a post-credit scene that was really cool. It wasn't a scene. It was more like a message. And my one complaint is that DC wasted Ben Affleck. But the DCEU overall, I don't think DC knows what they want to do. I don't know if they want to stick with their big multi-universe DCEU or if they're cool with the standalone films because the Joker was really good. The Batman is really, I'm sorry, Joker. It wasn't the Joker, just Joker, the Batman. All of these things are really good. Wonder Woman was really good, but the second one was a dud. Aquaman was good. The Snyder Cut is fucking perfect for the Justice League, but it's not going to go anywhere. So my thing is, with this being a standalone, there is no connection to the DCEU. It's just its own Batman movie. I think it just confuses the casual fans, and it confuses a lot of fans in general. Like, okay, well, when's Robert Pattinson going to be in the Justice League movie? It's like, he's not. Unless they do something with the Flashpoint movie to incorporate him in it. That's the only thing I can think of is if Flashpoint kind of like and kind of wipes everything and starts fresh. Because obviously Flashpoint's going to be the Batfleck swan song, the Michael Keaton probably swan song, and then they may introduce somebody, which if you have Robert Pattinson in that movie, it would be fantastic. It'd be great. Even if they work in something like George Clooney. People shit on George Clooney, right? But as a child, that was my favorite Batman movie because it was so over the top and so goofy. I have a magnet right here that's on my mini fridge that is, come on, focus up. Focus. It's not going to focus. I'll give it 2 more seconds. All right, I didn't focus. My George Clooney Batman magnet that I've had since I was a fucking kid. We had the whole magnet set. Arnold Schwarzenegger as fucking Mr. Freeze. But what I would like to see in the sequel would be, I would like to see Hush. I think a Hush storyline would be really cool. Even a Mr. Freeze, a Two-Face, a Mad Hatter, something along those lines. And we'll talk about spoilers in a separate video. Why not? I'll talk about the big spoilers and my thoughts and opinions on those. But do I recommend this? Yes. I've always wanted to do my own rating scale for movies and for TV shows. I thought about the traditional 5 out of 5. If that was a thing, this would be a 4 out of 5. I thought about my own thing out of a 7 because 7's my favorite number. This would be probably like a 6.5. But then there's just the regular 10-point rating scale that I think is perfect to begin with. I'd probably give this like an 8.5 out of 10. I think it's so close to being a 9, and it's very close to being a perfect movie. It's really good. I highly recommend, especially if you're a fan of Batman like I am. And even if you're not, I will say I learned more about Batman's lore in almost 3 hours in this movie than I did in the Dark Knight trilogy. Some people say, how does it compare to the Dark Knight trilogy? We're not going to compare those 2 movies because those 3 are fantastic, phenomenal, perfect movies, right? Batman Begins, perfect. The Dark Knight is generationally perfect. And The Dark Knight Rises, it was rushed, but it was still pretty good. On this end, it's just different things. And somebody made a really good point. They said that the Batman is a perfect Batman movie, and the Dark Knight is just a perfect movie. So you see how one has a wider audience compared to the other. But I think more and more people will go see the Batman and they'll get involved in this lore and involved in this world. And I will say one nice touch that they did, which isn't a spoiler, is it's instead of Gotham being its own place, it's an exact 1-to-1 scale of New York. And my buddy was like, yeah, because they hired The Rock to play Black Adam. So they don't have a budget to make a new Gotham. They just have to do a 1-to-1 scale. So instead of Madison Square Garden, it's the Gotham Garden, or instead of the Empire State Building, the Gotham State Building. Not a whole lot of effort put into it, but still really cool to see. And I wanted to keep this short and condensed as possible. This is still kind of like my first time sitting and talking about movies. It's probably not in the order I want to say things or in the correct way, but it's still a fantastic, phenomenal movie. And I recommend, if you haven't seen it, go watch it. If you have seen it, feel free to have a discussion down below. Keep it spoiler free because we are going to talk about spoilers in a video. It should be same day as this. If not, it'll be in the next couple of days. But regardless, on that note, I'm going to go ahead and head out. If you guys enjoy reaction style videos, that's what's here on the channel. We have all the Marvel cinematic stuff. We have all the teen dramas, Teen Wolf, Vampire Diaries, the originals. We have Squid Game, Star Wars Visions, Peacemaker, and all that stuff of the like. So I'm going to go ahead and head out. Links and everything in the description box down below. Playlist up on screen. As always, stay cute, stay hydrated, and I will catch you on the next one.